Hello and welcome in. I am Miss Kinghorn and we are back here in our Red Lane Zoo in Planet Zoo. And we are building a kind of complex of different buildings today that all fit together quite nicely, but they're kind of individual sort of sections that we're going to work all the way along and through. So starting off, before I even started this, I kind of had a look at the guest needs and like all the heat maps and stuff like that, and I realised that they were actually thirsty and hungry. And then I thought, when was the last time we placed any food, any drink sort of area for them? Turns out it's quite a long way away. And so I figured this would be a perfect place for another little restaurant. So we already have 2 restaurants in the zoo, and we have like 2 food courts, 3 food courts kind of areas, but I figured it would be the perfect place to have another one. It was quite a long way from the last one, so I thought this would all work. I did start off by putting just some vending machines around the place, but it still wasn't quite enough, so I figured let's actually get a proper sort of restaurant in, and we do get all the tables and stuff like that as well. But I thought this whole area in here would work out really, really nicely for them. And we also have some toilets because we forgot them too. I think I focus way too much on the animals when I'm building this. I don't necessarily look and think about what the guests need. And so I kind of had to change that a little bit in here. So it's very simple. We're using the same stonework from the European pack that we did for the butterfly house, and this is literally opposite the butterfly house. So when I was looking at the map of the real zoo that we're kind of basing, not copying this off of, there was a whole kind of collection of buildings, and I thought it would be a really nice kind of area to have the butterflies in, this sort of restaurant, the sloths that we're working with as well, and kind of getting all of those in together in here, all kind of looking very much the same. So we are going to be taking a little bit of inspiration from the other side, and doing a few bits and pieces in there. I don't go too OTT with this kind of restaurant building because I feel like it's already got a lot of the stuff in it, and I really just use it more of a shell of like a building, the way I would do for like a staff room or something like that. I do actually place some plaster around the wall because it looks a little bit empty and a little bit not clean, not safe in there. And then I added some additional lighting in because the lighting was a little bit rubbish, if I'm gonna be honest. So in the end we just put a few of those in, get some plaster on the walls, and that's what we do in here. And then this little area in here, so basically this is going to be a really busy section. We've got to the left we go into this one of the sloth houses, straight ahead you've got the toilets, and to the right you've got the restaurant. So this area I fear is going to be quite a busy place, but yeah, I think it works in here really well, especially because I still haven't reduced the number of people in the zoo, but I am conscious that we're getting to the point where I'm going to have to. We're so nearly done with this zoo that I really don't want to, but yet I know at some point I'm going to have to either remove some animals or remove some guests in here, and I'm kind of like, can I just keep it going a little bit longer? But I fear it's coming to the point where we're going to have to do that in there. But obviously the guests are going to be the first to go before the animals, because I fear that's going to be probably the easiest option in here as well. And I'm just going to keep adding some animals to this zoo in here. Now I wanted a nice kind of glass kind of atrium kind of in here, also knowing that it's going to be quite a hot kind of area in here. Obviously the sloths really need the heat, so I figured that adding in as much sort of natural heating as we possibly can into here is obviously going to be better for them. So that's kind of what I was thinking and what I was hoping that this kind of area space in here was going to do. But yeah, it just also provides a lot of natural sunlight coming through. And then we are going to place in a roof over the top of the toilets in here. That section there is really, really irritating. It's where like two walls like meet each other. It kind of clips it out. I don't understand why it does that. It does not make any sense why it has to happen, but it always has done in Planet Zoo's games. I mean, we're coming to the end, so I shouldn't really complain too much, but those things are just irritating when you are actually building in there, because you have to place in another little panel of plaster all the way around. And near here I did some stonework, but yeah, we got there in the end. And now we're going to come in and roof the restaurant. Now I'm just simply going for a brown roof, used a plaster. It's the same as what we've done pretty much everywhere else, and the same colours we've used for this whole sort of section. And we're actually coming up to the end of what I think I've called phase 5. So I've kind of zoned a lot of this out. And yeah, we're now going to be moving from the next video into the final section of this zoo, which is quite scary in a way, because we've been going for over a year with this zoo, and I've spent so many hours building it up, and I really don't know what to do. Like, I have no plans, so I'm thinking it's probably going to be another 6, maybe 7 videos we've got, but after that I have no plans. Do I start another zoo? Do I do a different game? Let me know down in the comments what you want to see, what you think of either this zoo or future zoos, or let me know if it's about like the future of the game or anything like that. Let me know your ideas, suggestions, feedback, because I'm struggling. I don't know what to do in here, so let me know. And yeah, maybe you'll be right and you come up with that perfect idea and suggestion that we can take forward into here. But I was going through all of these educational posters in here, and I was like, which one really works with the sloths? And in the end, I think I went for the ecotourism one, because, well, I was just going round and round in circles, and it was kind of going a little bit mad because I really did not know which one to have in here. So you can sort of see a broad sort of outline as I move the cameraman there. We've got the butterflies on one side, and we've got this big sort of plaza in here, and I figured this would be a perfect place for some seating. So having a nice little outdoor kind of restaurant in here. Maybe it's only open during the summer, maybe it's a little bit more relaxed, kind of not necessarily a restaurant. Maybe you kind of come in and get your pre-packed sort of sandwiches or things like that. That kind of thing I feel is a little bit more kind of realistic than having a proper sit-down restaurant in the middle of the zoo. But I think we end up with like 15 tables out here, so it does get a little bit busy at times in here. But I think I've also kept some sort of the pathways and that open, so you can still walk around without clipping tables and stuff like that. And I do change the flooring. I said about it at the end of the last video, I think, that I wasn't overly sure whether I was going to keep the flooring this colour, which is actually concrete, or change it to the cream plaster that we used around the capybara and the main walls. I change it, essentially. It goes to being the plaster, which is a nice bright kind of creamy white, which I think actually works in here a lot better, and it matches perfectly, and it means I don't have to change the other one in here. So yeah, you're gonna suddenly see a change. Don't worry, it's just me cutting probably what's about 40 minutes out of this video because it took forever, and it was a bit of a strange one, because you're like, oh, it's just a flat surface, it's just in there. Yeah, it's not. It goes under buildings, it goes inside things. yeah, it took a lot longer than what I expected it to do. And there is also different terrain manipulation under here. I don't quite understand why the paths don't flatten. Like, they're all over the shop. So trying to get this all in was a little bit of a challenge, but we did it in the end. So as I say, it took me probably around about 40 minutes, 45 minutes to get all this sorted. But yeah, we're now getting the umbrellas in, just adding a nice little bit of shade into there, so that if you are sitting out there on a hot summery day of 26 degrees, do you know what I could really do with a nice 26 degrees right now? It's February, but you know, it is freezing here in the UK. Yeah, it's sunny, but it's freezing cold. So perfect day to tuck indoors, reading, snuggled up under a blanket, playing games, watching videos. Perfect day in there for me in here. So as you can see, we've got all of the necessary bits for the sloths in. Annoyingly with these, I accidentally change things, and things change and move, and it goes on and on and on, where I'm actually having to re-put things in that I've already done. For some weird reason, it just defaulted back to its settings. And so here we kind of have the basic shell all done. I was going to keep it with the mesh over the front here, but in the end I decided to change that out to make it look a little bit more similar to the butterflies and have the glass front on the top up here. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're also going to add in a glass roof over the top as well. Again, it's to do with the heat, the humidity that they kind of really want, and yeah, I think it also gives a better kind of viewing area for the guests if you can look through glass rather than mesh. These animals are incredibly stinky. It's one of those things where I think, because I know that they're very stinky, whenever people ask like, oh, what kind of animal would you be, like, and people go, oh yeah, I'm really lazy, I'll be a sloth, and I'm like, yeah, but they're actually one of the most disgusting animals you could ever pick. But anyway, each to your own, I think is the way we'll word that one in here. So tying it all in with these European marquee props. I love these pieces. They are so simple, and yet they're just basically a square pole of like steel or just metal pole. But they work so well in so many different areas. So you'll often see me use these pretty much throughout the zoo for windows, doors, roofs, all sorts of things. Just a nice simple little trim as well that can go around places. Now, with this, I found that it doesn't quite fit. So it's a bit of an odd size, and I have a tiny little window on the end here that I kind of have to hide a little bit. I do also know that I've placed 1 meter plinths up that side, and I follow those over onto the roof, and they're just basically there for stability. I feel like if you're kind of tying that all in, because a glass roof that maybe has water on it, or even snow, it's going to get heavy, it needs a little bit more stability and strength in there as well. So that's kind of what I was thinking with adding in some of those throughout all of this. But we're now getting into working on this house. Now, there are 2 sloth houses in here. They have 5 and 4 sloths in each. I only show you one. They are pretty much the same, but what I wanted was the 2 to kind of work together but to be separate. So I figured that you would maybe have all the females in one and all the males in the other, and that you would like put them in together at like breeding time, but maybe they wouldn't work so well to all in one. And also they're quite small build, so I thought, well, let's put 2 in together. Then I saw how long this whole section took. Yeah, it grew. So therefore you are only going to see 1. And talking of the 2 connecting, now in this middle here, and I have just cut it all out for you, I do actually have a connecting sort of pod. So if you see, there is a slight little hole in both of the walls, and they have like bamboo where they pretend could possibly walk into this sort of middle section where I've put like sleeping, I've put like a little bit more climbing and some food. It's completely irrelevant, they don't actually use it, they can't use it, but I figured it would be a nice little touch in there and a way for them to be able to hide away from the guests as well. So in here, this kind of area was all very empty, although we've got all of like the climbing, we've got the food enrichment, we've got the bed, like the hanging chair and stuff like that. It still looked very empty, so I figured a nice little raised planter up in this corner here would just elevate it, add lots of greenery to it as well. Obviously they don't technically need any plants in here, but it just makes the whole thing look a little bit more realistic and a little bit more interesting for them in here. So just using some of the aquatic fake rocks in there, and then some mulch on top, just so that even if there is a gap in the planting, you're not seeing all the way through to the floor. You can kind of just see the mulch, which I think is a little bit better than just seeing the bare floor in here. Changing some of the colour variations up in here as well. And now we're getting in some of our planting. So for this, I've gone for a tropical in the southern and central Americas, which is obviously where the brown-throated sloths are from. I have to be honest, doing this, I was quite shocked. The lack of planting of plants we have available from that biome. There's not that many, and that's really proved a bit of a challenge. I have to be honest, when we were doing this, we kind of managed to muddle through, I guess is probably the word I would use. It's not ideal. There is a lot of empty space, there is a lot of the same planting going round and round, and it feels repetitive, I have to be honest, because of the lack of planting in here. But we should probably have some sloth facts for you in here. So they can actually sleep between 15 and 18 hours a day, every day. In there. Now they come down to the ground every 8 days, just to go to the toilet, and then they go straight back up on a tree, and they don't touch the ground again for just over another week in there. So they are very much tree-based kind of animals, and that's obviously why they've got a lot of sort of climbing and a lot of they're not quite bamboo, but they're like wooden beams that go all the way through this sort of habitats in here for them, which they can so slowly move along, and they actually have a top speed of like 0.25, I think it was, 0.25 kilometers per hour, only when threatened. So that's like their top speed. They're running away from a predator. That's what they're going for in there as well. Now these guys in here are brown-throated sloths. They are found, obviously, as I say, in the Central and Southern Americas. They are actually the most common of the 4 species of 3-toed sloths. I don't know, I guess the difference between a 2 and a 3-toed sloth is a toe, but I don't necessarily know what the difference really is between the two, other than a toe in here. So their diet, they are purely herbivores, so they are plant eaters, and they are feeding on low energy diet of leaves, twigs and fruits. This obviously is because of their slow movements and their metabolism. It can take up to a month to digest a single meal. So because they don't eat very quickly, because it doesn't digest it very quickly, it's one of the reasons why they're so slow, I guess. I think in here, and that in there. So the lifespan of a 3-toed, which is what the brown-throated sloth is between 25 and 30 years, although they don't survive very well in captivity. I don't necessarily know why. I would have thought just most animals tend to do better in captivity, than they do in the wild, and you'll usually find that their life expectancy in a zoo is better than what it is in the wild. But obviously maybe these guys don't get on too well because of the stress of like other people. They're very shy animals and things like that as well, and yeah, they're just nice, quiet. They just want wildlife, nature and things like that, compared to people taking lots of photos of them, I would guess, in here as well. Right then, so we're now working on this glass roof. This roof took me forever. So this looks like it's perfectly balanced in the middle. Yeah? Guess what? It ain't. To put it bluntly, I messed up in the design of this, and therefore I messed up in everything of this. So it's not evenly built, which is pretty common for me, I have to be fair, when I ever build anything right. Yeah, if you don't know, go back and watch the rest of the series, you'll find out what I mean in here. So yeah, it proved a bit of change. I did actually try to just copy and paste it, essentially, and just spin it around. It didn't work. Hence why you are now seeing me build the second version of this, which is slightly bigger. I still, even looking at this now, I don't know where I went wrong with this. And the funny thing is, when I was doing the other second Sloth House, I took this roof. It doesn't fit either. I don't understand how I could have messed them both up, and they are both different sizes on different sides, and yeah, it was a whole big thing of complete frustration. And yeah, anyway, now we have got all of that set up in here. We can, I think, just doing the last finishing little touches in here, and then we are going to be moving on to the phase 3 of, or building 3 of this section in here as well. So yeah, this, when I said this was a whole big sort of complex, we've got like the restaurant, the kind of the toilet areas, we've got the 2 sloth houses, although I do only show you one of them, and then we have a kind of an outside kind of building that's not quite connected to anything, but these were the last exhibition animals that we don't have in the zoo, and I figured, where can we really get them in? We obviously have 2 over there with the butterflies, so I kind of thought this whole area here was a good place to put them, and that's what we're going to do. So this is the green iguana and the lesser Antigua iguana in here. So they are in side by side little pods just out here, kind of in the middle. I was taking screenshots and doing the cinematic videos and stuff for all this. Nobody actually came to have a look at these guys. I've got to be honest, rather sad, nobody came and had a look. But yeah, they're all nicely tucked in here. So they've got all of their necessary bits and pieces in here, and then we're just going to tie this all off together. But let's have some facts about these guys. So the green iguana, which is, looking at this, is on the right hand side. They are a herbivore. They are adapted with special locomotion as a result of its diet, and can grow to 1.7 meters in length, which is 5.6 feet from their head to their tails, although very few, but some have grown to more than 2 meters in length in there. Sadly, they are commonly found in captivity, being used as pets because of their bright colours, but also they are incredibly calm animals. But they're also very, very demanding animals to keep, and it's not recommended anybody keeps them as pets. I think, as this whole game is about sort of animals, it's never an idea to keep any kind of animal that's like designed to be outside. So obviously like cats and dogs and things like that, they've obviously developed over years, but these are as pets probably not what they need, as they are incredibly demanding animals in there. Obviously, as their name suggests, they are a bright green colour in there, and again they are listed as being of least concern, whilst the lesser Antiguan iguana, they are actually listed as critically threatened. They are a kind of a grey, sort of browny colour, and they are more bulky with a shorter face, and they lack the striped pattern that you find in the green iguanas in there. And yeah, they are found in scrub, woodlands, rainforests and mangroves of the sort of more of the Caribbean, looking at this actually, in there as well. So we are coming to the end of this video. If you have enjoyed it, then please give it a big thumbs up, and you can subscribe to my channel and make sure to ring that bell so you never miss a thing. But until next time, you can find me on pretty much all social medias. The link to those are down in the description. And yeah, I will be back in 2 weeks' time with another Planet Zoo video, but in another week with a Sims 4 video as well. So make sure you check out all of those. But until then, stay happy and stay building. Alright, bye everyone!